up, Toonami faithful? Time for another night. If you're new to the show, welcome. If you've been down from the beginning, all I can say is thanks. Time to push the button.
We call it Toonami.
Some of the finest graphics you've ever seen on the PlayStation.
Wow.
The televised revolution as we drift through outer space aboard the absolution. With time back in active duty as captain in charge of bringing superior anime action. Yeah, Toonami's back, bitches, to celebrate time's return to television.
In the spirit of rising up from the ashes, we're gonna kick off the new Toonami with a review for a post-apocalyptic Xbox Live game called I Am Alive. It's basically a video game version of the movie The Road. Some sort of catastrophe happened, everything's covered in radioactive dust, and the world is hanging on by a thread. You play a strapping young man who's out to find his wife and kid and get out of Dodge. All you have to work with is what you can scrounge up, and that ain't much.
A hunter's bow. Worth a try.
You do meet some people out in the wasteland, some who need help.
You came for me?
Of course, sweetie, I wouldn't leave you here.
And others who are just bad news.
You made a big mistake.
What are you doing here, boy?
You're never too far from being out of everything at the wrong time, so manage your inventory carefully. I Am Alive is far from perfect. It's not super polished, and it's pretty short. But this was right up my alley. Toonami gives I Am Alive an 8 out of 10. This is the way the world ends. They say the devil is in the details, but Blizzard says that dude needs an ass whooping. So I picked up Diablo 3 and readied myself for a fight. This one picks up where the last game left off.
It has begun.
Just throw it in, fire up one of the 5 basic classes, and start smacking down bad guys. The game mechanics are simple, some would say classic. You run around and kill things. Lots of things. There's a huge online component too.
The minions of hell grow stronger.
Saddle it up for a more challenging experience. Overall, Diablo 3 takes you on an epic journey from the depths of hell to the gates of heaven. One problem, even if you're just riding solo, you still have to be logged into battle.net to play. Weak. The bottom line, Blizzard's done it again. This game looks and plays great. Well worth your hard-earned cash. Toonami gives Diablo 3 an 8.5 out of 10.
You are no match for the Lord of Sin.
Tell the truth and shame the devil. Only Toonami on Adult Swim. Normally I beat a game before I give it a review, but every now and then one comes along that's worth talking about that I haven't finished.
Catherine!
Meet Catherine. It's clunky, it's slow, it's really a pain, and I can't stop playing it. Your character is Vincent. He's haunted by nightmares about commitment, love, and other women. Every night, you face a series of puzzles you have to solve or you die. If you live, you have to choose between two women in your real life. Catherine, your girlfriend, and Catherine, your, well, friend.
Just so long as you never think of cheating on me.
This game is weird for sure. The puzzles are annoyingly difficult, and the mechanics are super cheap.
I made it!
But when you finish a level, it's so sweet. If you like super frustrating puzzle games like I do, or just want to experience something totally different, give it a whirl. Toonami gives Catherine a 7 out of 10. Ba ba black sheep. Have you any wool? Hey, I've been playing this game, Slender. It's free. Just find it online and settle in for one of the scariest games you'll ever play. No, seriously. You play as some scared person. The game opens with you alone in the woods at night. You need to find 8 pages. Who knows why? As you find them, you'll start being chased by something called the Slender Man. You never actually see him move, but when you look at him, don't look at him! That happens. Slender's a great example of a game that really nails the thing it's trying to do. Every element's designed to slowly ratchet up the tension till you're a nervous wreck. Oh! I've played it a bunch and still haven't beaten it, or even figured out what's going on. You know what? It doesn't even matter. Slender's the scariest game I've ever played. Toonami doesn't even know what to give Slender. Here we go again. Dungeons, dragons, swords, and skill trees. That's what I dream about. Skyrim is amazing. If you haven't played it, stop watching and go get it immediately. For now, let's talk Dawnguard, the first Skyrim expansion. When Dawnguard opens, you've got a choice to make. Join the vampires or kill the vampires. I'm a vampire hunter from way back, so that decision made itself, kid. There's a bunch of missions, but much like the main game, there's a ton of other side hustles. There's also a new dragon to find and kill, and it only appears if you're level 78. If you didn't max it before, that could mean some serious level grinding. Good boy, Shadowmere. There's also a few new shouts to learn, and skill trees for werewolves and vampires. Dawnguard isn't great, but it's solid, and it got me back into my sky hole, which is always a good thing. Toonami gives Skyrim 100 out of 10, and Dawnguard gets an 8. Skyrim. Summertime's definitely the doldrums for gamers, so I've been snatching up whatever little downloadables I can get my mitts on, like Deadlight for Xbox Live. It's got a lot going for it, but it's got issues too. Deadlight begins with you as an everyman trying to find his wife and kid. Yawn.
This is it. This is what's left of our world now.
Unfortunately for this dude, the world exploded and there are zombies everywhere, which makes it hard for the family reunion. You know, same old zombie stuff.
I better get out of here quick.
I really didn't pay much attention to the story and just focused on a creepy atmosphere and old school side-scrolling vibe, which are both great. Unfortunately, the controls aren't tight enough, which means you die. A lot. It's also pretty short. We're talking 5 hours of play max. Basically, if you like zombies and side-scrollers, you might dig Deadlight. If that sounds annoying to you, don't bother. Hey, gotta fill these summer days somehow, right? Toonami gives Deadlight for Xbox Live a 7 out of 10. Dead Man Walking. Side-scrolling 2D beat-em-ups go way back, like yours truly. So when I saw Dust on the Xbox Arcade, I pressed the yes button.
Dust.
You wake up and there's a talking sword with a guardian named Fidget, and the 2-button massacre begins. All the scenery and characters are hand-drawn, so it looks like you're playing in a cartoon. Pretty sweet.
Help us!
You fight your way through the story using chain combos, grabbing goodies along the way. As you learn the ropes, Fidget helps you find treasure. And later on, her special attacks are where it's at.
Let's end this.
Craft items and upgrade yourself and Fidget till you're a deadly duo. Plus, you can pick up a few familiar faces along the way. Aww. Loads of side quests, plenty of secret areas to explore, and some really cool extras. Take Dust and Elysian Tale a step above the rest. Toonami gives it an 8 out of 10. Man, my thumb hurts. Wreck-It Ralph is coming to theaters November 2nd, so we thought we'd check out where it all began. Fix-It Felix Jr., the video game. Ralph is the big mean guy who's trying to wreck it.
I'm gonna wreck it!
And you play Felix Jr. He has one job, to fix it.
I can fix it!
And that's what you do. It starts out easy, but it actually gets pretty tough. You've got to dodge all kinds of bricks and debris if you're going to keep on fixing it. You can also pick up what look like pies from the good people of Niceland to gain a little bit of invincibility. Fix-It Felix Jr. is an old-school throwback in all its glory. So if you're looking for the satisfaction of a job well done, this guy will be right up your alley. Toonami gives Fix-It Felix Jr. an 8.5 out of 10. And don't forget to see the world beyond the game when Wreck-It Ralph rated PG gets to theaters November 2nd. I've been down with Halo from the beginning, and as a fellow member of the Helmeted Woken Up from Extended Sleep Club, when I heard Master Chief was back, I enlisted day one. You're awakened by Cortana, and from then on, you're in it neck deep. You start off fighting the Covenant, but soon it's a whole new enemy, the Prometheans. They are a bitch, in the best Halo way. They've got new weapons for the taking. One of the coolest things about them is how they die. As you fight your way through this unknown world, you'll see just how sweet Halo 4 looks and sounds. I won't spoil the story, but once you're done with the campaign, check out Spartan Ops. It's got weekly episodes and new co-op missions.
Short version of your to-do list. If it moves, shoot it.
And of course, there's the huge multiplayer war games too. Toonami gives Halo 4 rated M for mature, a 9 out of 10.
Ready to get back to work?
I thought you'd never ask.
Suit up. Shooting things and looting chests, so I've been neck deep in Borderlands 2 for a while now. Just pick a guy and jump right in.
Let's get to killing, sweetheart!
I like the Commando for all-around flexibility, but it's pretty tough to front on the Gunzerker. As you level up, you can pick different perks depending on your style, and whether it's the main story or one of the million side quests, you're basically doing the same thing over and over again, but it never gets old. Kill that guy, take his stuff. You can also team up with friends, which makes the enemies harder to beat, but the goodies even sweeter. After you beat it, you unlock the True Vault Hunter mode to play through again for even better gear. There's also some DLC out now and more on the way.
No rest for the wicked.
So if you like shooting and looting, you pretty much can't go wrong with Borderlands 2.
I'm ready for more!
Toonami gives it a 9 out of 10. It'll save your gall-darn life.
Who's next, huh?
I am alive!
I wasn't even on the air when this gem came out, so I broke out the old PS3 and took off on a journey. There's no setup, just the blowing sands, the haunting melody, and your scarf Jawa. Getting around is all about collecting magic. By gathering runes and releasing scraps of cloth, you grow your scarf longer, which allows you to fly even further. Explore explore the mesmerizing landscape, always going towards the light. No scores, no lives, no stats, just a zen-like wandering. Sometimes other random players will drop in. You can help each other out, or just fade them away. There is some sort of story here, but they say life's about the journey, and this one's worth taking. Toonami gives our first PS3 review a 9 out of 10. Okay, everyone can stop crying now. All your base are belong to us. Aliens have invaded Earth, and it's up to you to stop them. Finally, another XCOM game has arrived. XCOM Enemy Unknown. If you were down before, you'll be super down now. If not, here's the deal. You're in charge of giving these stinking aliens some serious payback. You build up your squad of soldiers, take them into battle, train them up for the next op, and go fight some more. You meet smarter and stronger aliens the longer you play, which means more trophies to bring back for scientific research. Probe 'em, boys. Capturing the buggers alive scores you even more upgrades. In addition to your soldiers, you've also got to keep the countries of the world happy to keep their money rolling in. So you build satellites, interceptors, and new structures in your base to slow the panic. XCOM isn't very pretty, but if you like turn-based strategy games, you're gonna love this one. Toonami gives XCOM Enemy Unknown for the 360 an 8 out of 10. We will be watching. I wasn't the biggest Far Cry fan, so I was thinking of fading. But after an hour of Far Cry 3, I was hooked. You and your adrenaline junkie friends had dropped out of the sky and into a hell on Earth.
Do you want me to slice you open like I did your friend?
So it's up to you to rescue everybody. That's the main story, but where this game shines is all the side hustles. Hunt different animals to make holsters and bags for more weapons and loot. Unlock new areas by climbing radio towers. Then gain new skills to ink yourself up with your ritualistic tatau. But my favorite part are the takedowns. The graphics are pretty meh, but when this game is clicking, it'll get your heart pounding. There's a couple of co-op missions and not a bad multiplayer mode too. Some people might think it's repetitive, but I'm fully down to spin this hamster wheel. Toonami gives Far Cry 3 an 8.5 out of 10. PSN games have brought me to some strange and wonderful places, and The Unfinished Swan is no exception. You play through the pages of a fairy tale as an orphan who's lost his beloved swan. By painting this dream world to life, you follow the trail. There it is! It's like an imaginary work of art, and you're the artist. As you progress, new paintbrush modes are revealed that enable you to solve puzzles, find pages from the story, and collect balloons to cash in later for cool extras. Get back here! The techniques may change, but the aim remains the same. Catch that bird. On the downside, it's pretty short, the ending's kinda dark, but it's hard to put down. Another game that proves you don't need an epic battle to be immersed in a good yarn. Toonami gives The Unfinished Swan an 8 out of 10. Here, little Cygnus. Been a long time since I played an old-fashioned JRPG, so when I heard about Ni no Kuni for the PS3, I dove straight into a Kuni hole.
Come now, don't be shy.
I should mention this game is created by Studio Ghibli, which means it's got that old Miyazaki Takahata feel. You play as Oliver, the kid on a hero's journey to save his mom. Oh, and rescue 2 worlds from an all-powerful sorcerer named Shadar. So, no big deal.
Come on!
Coming!
In your corner are a couple of friends and a couple of little guys the game calls familiars. Aww. Ultimately, Ni no Kuni is pure old-school RPG. Turn-based combat? Got it. World maps? Check. Dungeons? Of course. There's a whole lot of old-school charm and wonderment. Well, for me anyway. The only downside? Get ready to grind. And grind. And even if you like grinding, by the end, this game will make you grind. It takes a while to get going, but once it does, it's the closest thing to being inside a Studio Ghibli movie. And that's a pretty magical place. Toonami gives Ni no Kuni for the PS3 a 9 out of 10. Get your Kuni on.
It's like a dream, this is. Ain't it though?
I've been raiding tombs since tomb raiding began, so when the origin story came out, I couldn't resist. They've made some big changes, but all for the better. Shipwrecked in the Dragon's Triangle, you fight for survival. It isn't an entirely open world, but the island of Yamatai is a platforming playground, and the puzzles are quicker and more satisfying to solve. Biggest news? No more auto-targeting, making the new combat system the best it's ever been. Finally. Soon your Lara in training starts to earn her badass rep. Hunting and takedown moves are new to the series, and by collecting salvage and artifacts you can upgrade your stats and equipment. This is critical later in the game, so don't sleep on it. All in all, this franchise reboot hits all the right notes. Lara's back and better than ever. Toonami gives Tomb Raider an 8 out of 10. Caught you looking. How you been?
Hello, Tom. It's good to see you again.
No doubt. Been too long.
Are you ready to begin?
Oh, yeah. I just gotta figure out how to run this new baby. BioShock Infinite is finally out, and my sensors want to know if I would kindly fire it up immediately. In this BioShock, you play Booker DeWitt, a former Pinkerton who's on a mission he hopes will square him with the man. He's going to have to drop a lot of bodies before he gets there. Infinite's kind of a history of America, and portrays a lot of racism and extreme religion. So be prepared. Gameplay-wise, this BioShock seems to have shifted a little more towards gunplay, but you still have your powers, only now they're called Vigors. There are hidden audio recordings and video players scattered all over that really help tell the story without a ton of long cinemas. And if you're playing on hard or the bonus $19.99 difficulty, this game is no joke. The big downside? It's pretty short. Not even 15 hours for the main story. But even so, this game is definitely worth a trip. Toonami gives BioShock Infinite a 9 out of 10. Wipe away your debt.
You're not done here, soldier! Finish it!
Only Toonami on Adult Swim. Nice. See, you're firing up Blood Dragon.
Tom, I thought you said this was the Far Cry 3 expansion. This seems 25 years old.
That's the beauty of it. It seems 25 years old, and it's the Far Cry 3 expansion. It's still the same engine, except now you're Rex Power Colt.
When you're hot, you're hot.
But all that really matters is the ownage.
What do you mean?
You can't get hurt from falling. You got a bunch of new weapons, and everything's neon.
Yes, I did happen to notice that. So, if you're a cyborg, are you indestructible?
No, but it's pretty easy. Even on hard, the only thing that can really hurt you are the dragons that shoot laser beams out of their eyes.
Well, now it is sounding intriguing.
I'm telling you, this game is great.
Excuse me while I rip this out.
It's funny, it's violent, the story's good. It's short, but it's also cheap. You don't even need the Far Cry 3 disc to play.
Get some.
Blood Dragon gets a 10 out of 10.
Whoa, that seems kind of high.
Trust me, just play it.
Okay, but a 10?
Objective.
Kill everything. Everything. Kill.
Tell me that's not a 10.
Boom, baby.
last game ever is about the end of days. It's a survival shooter called Metro Last Light. You play as Artyom, traveling between the dangerous tunnels of the Metro and the deadly wastelands of the surface, looking for the last of the Dark Ones. Life in the Metro can be pretty grim.
No, they gotta be short.
But there are a few distractions. If you want to stand a chance against both man and beast, you'll definitely need to upgrade your weapons. There's plenty of action underground, but it's the missions to the surface that really make it fun. The air is toxic, so you gotta rock a gas mask. Plus, monsters here are hardcore. Make sure you have a lot of ammo. The only real downside, there's no multiplayer, but Ranger mode sorta makes up for it. This one's a slow burn, but in the end, it's worth it. Metro Last Light gets an 8 out of 10. If it's the end of the world, might as well go out with a bang. Here at Toonami, we like it when things come back from the dead. So of course I had to check out The Last of Us for PS3. Boy, am I glad I did. You jump into the story as everything starts going to hell in a handbasket, and it's all downhill from there. Eventually, you fast forward 20 years into the future and jump into the tale of Joel and Tess, two survivors of the zombie outbreak who are just scraping by, until they meet Ellie, a little kid with a big secret. Now they gotta get her across the country, no matter what.
What's wrong with these guys?
Standing in their way are weird fungus zombies called clickers, the army, and even cannibals. Gross. There's really no other game out there like The Last of Us. Think Metal Gear meets Ico with a little Resident Evil thrown in. It's fun trying to sneak by the gross fungus-riddled clickers, but it's just as much fun hunting down marauders who are out to jack your stuff.
What about the guy?
He ain't even hurt.
Or worse. They also make time for some moments of quiet beauty. The story in this game really kept me on the edge of my seat. It's one of the most emotionally taxing adventures of any game I've played. Basically, The Last of Us is the best zombie game ever. We got a masterpiece on our hands here, folks. If you own a PS3, you need to get your hands on this one. Ellie and Joel need your help. Toonami gives The Last of Us a 10 out of 10. The end is nigh. Sneaking around, snatching guys and piling up the bodies. Ah, the memories. It's been over 25 years since Metal Gear first broke onto the scene. And now you can get every single major Metal Gear game ever made, all in one place. Well, sorta. It's Snake. The Metal Gear Solid Legacy Collection. You do get every title, but there's a lot of installing, code redeeming, and downloading before you can really get into all of them. But once you do, it is sweet.
Commencing virtuous mission now.
You get both of the original Metal Gears, all the Metal Gear Solids, and you can even practice up your skills with VR missions. Now these aren't new, and some of them are straight up old. But make no mistake, there is some serious history packed into these games.
Snake, hurry up and get in there.
Pretty much every one is a Hall of Famer. If you're into Metal Gear and you don't already have them all, you should check this out for sure. But if you got the HD versions already, it may not be worth it to you.
I'm counting on you, Snake.
Toonami gives Metal Gear Solid Legacy Collection a 9.5 out of 10. Snake? Snake! So I need 3 mixed units. One goes after the fruit, the other 2 combo on the mini-boss, and then build this bridge.
Hey Tom, what are you doing?
Planning the perfect Pikmin day. Hang on.
The perfect Pikmin day?
Yeah, I'm trapped on PNF 404, and I need to reunite with my crew and find the cosmic drive key. Every day from sunup to sundown, you gotta track signals and gather as much fruit as possible to make juice for your crew and food for Kopai's survival.
No, I know how to play Pikmin 3. I beat it a few weeks ago. I just don't know what the perfect Pikmin day is.
No moment is wasted. Everybody's doing a job, and you don't lose any Pikmin. So I just keep replaying the days until they're perfect.
Tom, you have plenty of juice. You can just play the game and have fun with it.
I am having fun.
Sure, so you're ready to start your review?
I know it's gonna be a 9 out of 10, but it's just not perfect yet. I lost too many good Pikmin in that battle.
Tom, are you crying?
No, I think I just got some space dust in my eye. Dungeons, swords, and sorcery. Dragon's Crown for the PS3 has it all. So gather your warriors and let the battle begin. The story mode drops you right in the thick of it. Stay in the fight as long as you dare, or head back to sort your spoils. Then, you do it all over again. Head into town to pick up new quests, resurrect fallen heroes, and pimp your gear. And when online play kicks in, the grinding really begins. You play the same levels over and over, but it never feels old. Each time there are harder monsters, multiple bosses, and other side quests to pursue. And with 6 different classes, co-op and online play, Dragon's Crown goes on and on. Plus, you can use your Vita to keep the fight alive. It's all about boss battles, monster mayhem, and mad loot. Getting the crown is only the beginning. Toonami gives Dragon's Crown an 8 out of 10. Death is the crown of life. Only Toonami on Adult Swim. It's tough sneaking around when you have big metal feet, which is why I love stealth action games. So when I heard Splinter Cell Blacklist was out, I fired up my night vision. First, the good news. Sneaking around like a ghost and taking out enemies as they slowly get more freaked out is a lot of fun. The downside? They changed my old pal Sam Fisher in ways I wasn't thrilled about. No more Michael Ironside as the voice of Sam, and now he looks like this dude. The other thing is, Sam's kind of a jerk, but to everyone, all the time.
Need options. Now would be good.
I want to root for him, but it's kind of hard to keep your eyes on the prize when he's such a dick.
You didn't clear this with me.
You didn't answer my question, Saint.
You make this prep quick.
Well, you want it now? Because, I mean, it's not finished per se. I'll just get it.
But once you're in the game, it's real sweet.
We are go for Benghazi.
There's a whole bunch of single-player missions and about 12 optional side quests you can play. Every mission goal you achieve gets you cold hard cash, which you can then use to hook up your gear and become a more effective killing machine. Nice. There's also a multiplayer, but it's not really my bag. Just not enough like the single player for me. And the co-op has its issues. But all in all, Splinter Cell Blacklist is definitely worth a ride if you like your murder real quiet-like. We give it an 8 out of 10. Feel like a man is controlling you? Yeah, me too. So when I wanted to pull the strings, I checked out Puppeteer for the PS3. All the action takes place in a magical theater, where apparently anything goes. This is a great platformer, but the setup is kinda nuts. In the first scene, the evil Moon Bear King traps your soul in a wooden puppet, then pops your top and eats it. Now, armed with your magic scissors, you'll have to find and collect lots of new heads to further the tale. Use them to solve puzzles, unlock bonus stages, and gain some cool new abilities. On your way to the crazy final act, you'll have to defeat grubs, free lost souls, and battle multiple Moonstone Guardians. The only real drag is there's a little too much storytelling, but tight controls and lots of levels help keep the magic alive. This game may look like it's just for kids, but it's actually pretty fun. Puppeteer gets a 7.5 out of 10. All the world's a stage.
Tom, you okay over there?
Yeah, sorry. I'm just sailing the seven seas and having a blast with the new Assassin's Creed game, Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
Ah, so this is a pirate assassin game. How does that fit in with the rest of the Assassin's Creed games?
Who cares? I was enjoying the main missions, but once the world opened up and I got my very own pirate ship, the sea became my home. I mean, look at this beauty.
So you, what, just attack people?
Oh, come on, Sarah. It's so much more than that. You want to hunt a whale? Do it. Though, I don't endorse this in real life. Want to get your pirate on and take on suspecting merchant vessels for profit and fun? What are you waiting for? Want to attack a fort and claim it as your own? Doing that right now.
Por favor, no. Oh, Dios.
If you build up enough of a badass rep, some pirate hunters come for you, and then it's really on. Basically, this game is a big pirate life simulator with some Assassin's Creed in it. Captain your boat, build up your crew, sing sea shanties while you sail the Caribbean Isles. I never want it to end.
Well, you do make it look pretty fun, but you haven't finished it yet, so what does it get?
I never want to finish it, and pirates make their own rules. I'm giving Assassin's Creed Black Flag an R. Avasti lovers, let's take her a prize. Yo, what you doing there?
Hey Tom, remember when you were totally obsessed with plundering the seven seas in that Assassin's Creed game, Black Flag?
How could I forget all the piratey goodness?
Ubisoft just released a new add-on for the game called Freedom Cry. I picked it up and, well, I think I've caught the bug now.
Oh yeah? Tell me more.
Freedom Cry takes place after the events of Black Flag, and this time you play as Adewale, who is Kenway's quartermaster.
Captain, more French vessels at our tail!
Basically, Adewale gets caught up in some drama in Port-au-Prince and decides he's going to liberate slaves in Haiti.
Whoa, sounds heavy.
Well, this time, you're not just a pirate out for spoils, but a hero with a real cause.
Good, be praised.
You have a pretty big area to explore, and you spend your time between missions liberating slave ships, shutting down slave plantations, and generally building an army of liberation.
You two must help your brothers and sisters.
And you'll like this. You get a nice machete and blunderbuss to take down those slavers with, too.
That does look pretty fun. How long is it?
There are 9 story missions, but if you do everything like I'm doing, it's a good 10 hours of gameplay.
Sounds like a pretty great add-on. What are you giving it?
Assassin's Creed Freedom Cry gets an 8.5 out of 10, Tom.
Sweet. Now gimme.
I'm not done.
Come on. Just 5 minutes?
Tom.
Well, it's a new year, and one of my resolutions is to kill more zombies. And that's where Dead Rising 3 really delivers. This time, the zombie apocalypse has happened. The streets of Los Perdidos are overrun with an endless stream of undead. Let me at him. You play as Nick, who's been locked down in the quarantine zone after a zombie outbreak. Go ahead, wade into the masses, bash away, but you better know when to quit, because the Horde never will. And at night, the zombies are fast and furious. Dead Rising 3 is all about your choices. What goofy clothes you wear.
Really?
What insane weapons you wield. And you know what they say, the car makes the man. All in the name of survival, aka zombie genocide. On the downside, it can get a little repetitive, and the graphics are more about quantity than quality. But when you're running from hundreds of zombies on the screen at the same time, you won't have time to care. Toonami gives Dead Rising 3 an 8 out of 10. Zombies everywhere, and so much fun to kill. Back in '89, I used to sweat this awesome arcade game called Strider. Well, guess what? It's back, and it's never looked better. You play as Hiryu, top badass from the ninja-like mercenaries known as Striders, on a mission to defeat the Grandmaster. run like the wind, cut like a laser, and let your cipher flow as you tear through a seemingly endless stream of robots, drones, and of course boss battles. These epic showdowns are where the new Strider really shines. You'll need all your skills to progress, but the old school flavored battles never seem unfair. The only downer? It's pretty short. You can breeze through the main mission in 5 hours, but there are lots of hidden upgrades and Capcom extras if you're willing to hunt them down. Split-second decisions, frantic boss battles, and some great new features keep this Strider legend alive. We give it a 9 out of 10. If you see me, it's already too late. Only Toonami on Adult Swim. I think I still like the carbine the best.
I've been using the Longbow DMR sniper rifle, and I'm enjoying it.
Never could snipe very well. Oh, hi, sorry about that. Sarah and I have been playing Titanfall a ton since it came out.
Please counting on you. Go, go, go!
I'm a little rusty with first-person shooters, but I have to admit, this game is fun.
I don't know if it's the fact that there aren't leaderboards, or there's so much to shoot on screen, or that there's giant mechs that smash down from the sky every few minutes. But Sarah's right. This game is just fun.
There are a few different game modes you can choose from.
But single player isn't one of them. This baby's online only.
There is a campaign mode, but that's really just more multiplayer with a few cinemas.
But it is a good place to start, because if you finish both factions of the campaign, you can unlock 2 more Titan cores. And Titans are where this game shines.
Maybe it's because I don't have a body, but I thoroughly enjoy the parkour in this game. But there's not really a lot of customization.
Better find the right Titan weapon for you, because if you don't happen to land on a good team, you can get destroyed pretty fast.
But then you're just a little bit away from another Titanfall.
Another downside is it's PC or Xbox One only, although they say the 360 version will be out soon.
In the end, if you like shooters and giant mechs,
and don't care if there's not a single player,
it's tough to go wrong with Titanfall.
Toonami gives it a 9 out of 10.
Prepare for Titanfall.
Console rat race moves fast, kids. Which is why sometimes I like to throw in a game that gets back to the basics. So I downloaded Child of Light, a fun little side-scrolling RPG. The story takes place in Austria in 1895 and in a world called Lemuria. You play as a princess named Aurora trying to find her way back home. Think evil stepmothers and ye old fairy tales. First, this game is gorgeous. Every frame looks like a page from a children's book, which is kind of the whole vibe. Combat's turn-based, and there are things called oculi you can collect and combine, plus a set of skill trees so you can really customize your party. Speaking of your party, you'll pick up a ton of followers on your adventure, all who have fun little backstories. Overall, Child of Light's a big adventure for a digital download. 15 hours if you do everything, and it does what it set out to do very well. I can't wait to visit Lemuria again. Toonami gives Child of Light an 8 out of 10. Now, where's my flute? First-person shooters have come a long way, and now the granddaddy of them all is back in action with Wolfenstein: The New Order. You play as total badass BJ Blazkowicz in an alternate timeline where the Allies have lost World War II, and General Deathhead and the Nazis almost rule the world. This is Wolfenstein, but on steroids, and you're gonna die. A lot. But it's all part of the old school fun. You get perks for completing various tasks, and you can upgrade your gear based on your fighting style. Play it any way you like, but you know how I'm going in. Lock and load, baby. It'll only take you about 15 hours to finish the campaign, but with lots of collectibles and alternate gameplay options, you'll be running it back again and again. Toonami gives Wolfenstein: The New Order an 8 out of 10. It's the season of the wolf. Only Toonami on Adult Swim. been a few months since Grand Theft Auto 5, but I'm already jonesing to cause some more virtual mayhem. So I picked up a copy of Watch Dogs, Ubisoft's new open world game. Think GTA, but in Chicago. And instead of playing a criminal, you're a hacker bro who's out for vengeance. And vengeance will be mine. Anyway, using your phone, fire up your hacking skills to disrupt the corridors of power, stop crimes Batman style, and generally make life difficult for the bad guys.
What's wrong with you?
I wouldn't know where to begin.
You can steal cars, tool up, and cause mayhem in hundreds of different side missions, or just focus on the main story.
I found him. The man who hurt her. I know who it is.
This game is huge. Besides all that stuff, there's some fun hacking and drinking mini-games, and you can even play chess or catch a serial killer. On the downside, the driving is even floatier than most other open-world games, and the combat and sneaking mechanics feel kind of half thought out. But overall, this is a very high-budget, very smooth ride for a brand new franchise. Toonami gives Watch Dogs an 8 out of 10. There's an app for that. Well, it's been 100 years since the whole world went crazy. They called it the Great War, and after playing Valiant Hearts, I can see why. This downloadable-only game looks amazing, but it's a pretty sad tale. You play as 4 different characters: a French soldier, a nurse on the front lines, a German soldier, and an American patriot, whose stories of survival are played out on the grim battlefields of France. At heart, it's a 2D side-scrolling puzzle game consisting of 4 chapters. In each, you'll have to use stealth, logic, daring, and even a few strategic costume changes to help keep the story moving. War is hell. But with your ever-faithful rescue dog along, you'll always find your way. And who knows, with all the mini history lessons, you might even learn a thing or two. We give Valiant Hearts the Great War an 8 out of 10. Oh, come here, boy. Only Toonami on Adult Swim. Fall, the season of the blockbuster video game, aka my favorite season. One of the first big titles out of the gate this year is Shadow of Mordor, a new game from WB Interactive. First things first, this is basically just Assassin's Creed skinned with Lord of the Rings stuff. But honestly, that's a pretty damn fun mix. You start off as some ranger dude named Talion, who ends up paired with an elven wraith who gives him super ghost powers. The upshot? You can die over and over and over, and you'll always be back for more orc killing. The only downside is when you die, the orc who kills you levels up and becomes more powerful, and even harder to beat the next time. I spent most of the game running around doing little quests, most of which involve sweet, sweet orc murder. Eventually, Talion was strong enough to take on any old orc. That never gets old. All in all, Shadow of Mordor was a lot of fun. It looks beautiful, the combat system's deep, and there's some cool backstory for Lord of the Rings nerds like me. Toonami gives Shadow of Mordor an 8.5 out of 10 in Mordor, where the shadows lie. Just when I thought my privateering days were done, along comes Assassin's Creed Rogue, a Black Flag sequel that feels just like slipping on a favorite old hoodie. This time around, you brave the icy waters of the North Atlantic as you undergo a dark transformation from assassin to Templar. You can cast off for days, taking down river forts, hunting assassins, and engaging in sweet, sweet sea battles. Sailing around is so fun, I wouldn't even set foot on land if I didn't have to. But if you somehow get bored ruling the waves, there's plenty more action on solid ground. New weapons like the air rifle, grenade launcher, and the deck-shattering puckle gun all add to the familiar carnage. Plus, playing as a Templar for the first time is pretty cool. If you were into Black Flag, you're gonna be down with Rogue. We give it an 8.5 out of 10. beat to quarters. Only Toonami on Adult Swim. Dying Light, the new open-world zombie killer from the Dead Island folks, is out. And this time, they've added in some parkour-style running.
Just in 10 seconds.
You play a military dude who's dropped in behind enemy lines to do, well, something.
Break his legs.
Back up! All of you!
The story's kind of all over the place. But pretty much all you need to know is run, jump, smash. The controls are a little crazy, but once you get the hang of it, this game's fun.
Fall back! Fall back!
During the day, it's pretty straightforward. Complete quests,
Jade, are you here?
level up your guy, smash some zombs. During the night is where things get, hectic. The bad guys move faster and hit harder. The rule is, don't get seen if you want to live. You get bonus points for braving the terror and coming out alive. It's not going to change your life, but if you like Dead Island and can make it to the open world part, you're going to have a lot of fun. Toonami gives Dying Light a 7.5 out of 10. The freaks come out at night. Hey Sarah, check out this cool new movie.
That's a video game, Tom.
Yeah, there's so many cutscenes I almost forgot. It's called The Order 1886. You play as Sir Galahad fighting to unravel some dark conspiracy. But all you really gotta do is follow along and be quick on the trigger.
Is that London? It looks pretty scary.
Tell me about it. It's full of rebels, half-breeds, and worse.
Worse?
Yeah, much worse. Lycans. Good thing you never really die. Just a sip of the old black water and... that's better.
That's sort of cheating, isn't it?
Nah, just keeps the story moving.
Well, it better be a good one because it looks like you're watching a lot more than you're playing.
Yeah, I guess. But it is the best looking console game ever. And when you do play, it's still pretty fun.
Yeah, but still, we're giving The Order a 7 out of 10. Sit back and enjoy the ride.
I've always loved me some Dragon Ball, but most of the Dragon Ball games have been pretty forgettable. Until now. The new one's called Dragon Ball Xenoverse, and they finally got it right. Fun starts right away. You choose your fighter, and let the beatings begin. After learning the ropes and a few classic warm-up battles, it's off to Toki Toki City to really prove yourself. Here you can train with your favorite characters, learn their skills, then use them against your enemies. The more guys you take down, the more your power goes up, just like on the show. As you travel through time restoring Dragon Ball history, you'll also revisit legendary battles. These can be tough to beat, but keep training and perfecting your technique, and soon enough, you'll be kicking some major ass. Z-Rank, baby. It's not the hardest fighting game out there, but it sure is fun. And if you're a Toriyama fan, it's a must. Dragon Ball Xenoverse gets an 8 out of 10. Hey, the gang's all here. What you playing, Sarah?
Hey, Tom. I just downloaded Hotline Miami 2 from Steam, and it's really hard, but fun.
What you mean hard? Let me try it.
This should be entertaining.
Look, just settle in because I'm about to go off. Dang. Okay, now I'm gonna... Whatever. Now, damn it.
I warned you.
This is just a Twitch game. I got this.
See, that's the thing though, Tom. Hotline Miami 2 is actually a strategy game disguised as a Twitch game.
Pretty sneaky.
This one is set in the 80s, and you play as several different characters, slowly killing your way across Miami.
Nice.
The story doesn't actually make a lot of sense, but that's beside the point. The style of Hotline Miami is pretty unique.
Yeah, and I really dig the music. The soundtrack kicks ass.
Really, this game boils down to 25 levels of totally unforgiving strategic action killing. It's equal parts addictive, cool, and disturbing.
So even though it's super hard, you're still enjoying it? What are you gonna give it?
I give Hotline Miami 2 a 9 out of 10. It's an improvement over the first version in every way. And it's been a long time since I played a game where I didn't mind dying over and over and over.
Cool. Don't worry, I'm all over this. Ah! Since I'd sucked all the life out of Far Cry 4, I wanted to see what kind of fight Valley of the Yetis would put up.
Where am I? Where's my stuff?
I guess you're maybe the same guy this time around, but either way, you don't have any of your skills, which is kind of a drag. Luckily, they let you level up way faster than the main game. Basically, this game is about survival. Survive long enough to get better weapons, and then go get upgrades so you can survive waves of attacks.
Send in the assaulters!
The game's not very long, only a couple of hours, and I missed some of the sneaking of Far Cry 4. But it's a pretty fun shooter, and the Yetis are no joke. If you love Far Cry, it's worth a look for sure. Toonami gives Valley of the Yetis for Far Cry 4 a 7.5 out of 10. Time to die. This one really takes me back to the days of sore thumbs and broken controllers. It's called Ori and the Blind Forest, and it may look like a kid's game, but it's tougher than you think. You start off pretty weak, but as you work your way through the eerie world, you'll gain more and more power. Saving the forest isn't easy. First, you'll have to find 3 restoring elements hidden deep within. While exploring, you're gonna die over and over, which is no big deal when you can save anytime you want. But as the story progresses, you'll discover places where you can't save at all. And this is when you'll feel like breaking your controller. Not being able to use your soul link during these critical moments is pretty infuriating. But it's pretty damn satisfying when you finally get it right. This one harkens back to the tough but fun platformers of old. It's all about trial and error, perfect timing, and being quick on the trigger. We give Ori and the Blind Forest an aggravating 9 out of 10. Don't let the dreamy looks fool ya. Just when I was itching to take down some Nazis, the Wolfenstein franchise delivers again. The new add-on is called The Old Blood, and there's plenty of it. The depths of Castle Wolfenstein have always been a house of horrors, and the second half of this prequel is a real nightmare. The only thing worse than zombies are Nazi zombies. Jesus Christ. Good thing you got your handy lead pipe and a few cool new weapons to survive the onslaught. All in all, The Old Blood is just as good as The New Order. It brings back all the sweet, sweet murder you crave, while adding just enough new stuff to keep it fresh. It only takes about 8 hours to finish the main campaign, but they sure are glorious ones. We give Wolfenstein The Old Blood an 8 out of 10. The wolf is loose again.
Witcher 3.
Because I'm not done. Got a couple more Gwent matches to play. Maybe walk around a little.
Want to play? Always ready for a round.
You've been walking around in playing Gwent forever. I've been done with this game for weeks, and I did everything there is to do.
Did you get all the Gwent cards?
Now you're just being mean. Why would they let that first innkeeper die and be the only person to sell those cards?
For those of you who don't know, Sarah and I are talking about The Witcher 3, which has been eating our lives for the last month or so.
It is so good, and even better if you played the other Witcher games. But they catch you up on the story pretty fast.
You play as Geralt of Rivia, a witcher or monster slayer who's looking for his ward and adopted daughter of sorts, Ciri. Most people think witchers are freaks, so people are pretty rude to you.
Everyone knows witches are freaks.
Well, until they need something.
Give us a hand, Witcher. Can't take them on our own.
And everybody needs something.
When you're out in the world, there are Witcher contracts to fulfill, and lots of side quests to do, big and small.
We'll handle this.
It's crazy how many seemingly small decisions have such a big impact on the story. So many of them end up being tied into the main quests.
And then there's Gwent, or the real point of playing, according to Tom.
I did get a little obsessed with it. Collecting all the cards and beating everyone I met was pretty much the primary motivator for where I went.
What'll it be? I sure wouldn't mind a few rounds of Gwent.
The story is amazing and the voice acting is strong. I usually skip a lot of cutscenes, but these are great. You want to watch them.
The Witcher 3 is really well made, is a ton of fun, and it is huge. Toonami gives it a 9.5 out of 10.
Now if you could just finish it, Tom.
I just want to try and beat this griffin.
Tom, it's 10 levels above you. You'll never beat it.
It's just gonna take a little more time is all. Shonen Jump just turned 45, and to celebrate stateside, they dropped J-Star's Victory vs. Plus. Ever wondered who would win in a fight between Naruto and Luffy? How about Kenshin and Ichigo? Well, this one lets you see for yourself. There are 4 different game modes, but they all lead to the same goal, winning J-points so you can unlock your favorite anime characters and cool extras. So pick your squad and let the dream battles begin. It's pretty straightforward. Use your attacks and special combos to take down the opposition. And when the going gets tough, just call for backup. How you like me now? On the downside, most battles can be won by button mashing. And once your team gets the upper hand, all you gotta do is unleash a few ultimate attacks and call it a day. Boo. It's not the hardest fighting game out there, but it has one of the best lineups of any fighting game ever. We give J-Star's Victory vs. Plus a 7 out of 10. Anime fans, rejoice.
Hey Tom, is that an old Nintendo game?
Nope, but you know I'm a sucker for a side-scroller.
Looks pretty fun.
Yep, I unearthed this gem called Shovel Knight on the PlayStation Network. As the 8-bit quest begins, the villainous enchantress and her Order of No Quarter stand between you and your beloved.
And your primary weapon is a shovel?
Yeah, but it's no ordinary spade. You can excavate some loot or bury a bunch of bad guys, search down secret items, and survive an avalanche of boss battles. Then use all your spoils to buy relics and handy upgrades. Trust me, you're gonna need them all.
Yeah, it kind of looks like Ghosts and Goblins hooked up with Castlevania.
That's what makes it so cool. It combines all the best features of those retro classics. Plus, it's challenging, super fun, and only $15.
Everyone can dig that. What are we giving it?
Shovel Knight for the PS4 gets an 8 out of 10.
The shovel is mightier than the sword. Post-apocalyptic wasteland. And if there's one thing I despise, it's a bad tie-in game. So I was cautiously optimistic about the Mad Max video game.
Fire and brimstone will devour all! Go, 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 go!
But they've done a very good job of capturing the look and feel of Max's world. You start off in a fight to the death, and you stay in that mode for pretty much the whole game. The plot revolves around the evil and questionably named Scrotus, and the minimizing of his power.
You've hunted well.
Let him inside.
Different warlords want your help improving their strongholds, and thus their position in the wastes. As you progress, you level up both your vehicle, the Magnum Opus, as well as your max character.
Let's do it.
There's a sizable amount of things to destroy, from metal structures, to snipers, to bases. And each one lowers Scrotus' standing. I might have gone a tad completionist, because I finished the game as Road Warrior level 68. But if you find a job you love, the mark against this game is that you do the same things over and over again. But to them I say, exactly. Toonami gives Mad Max a highly enjoyable 8 out of 10. Witness me.
There hasn't been a really good stealth game for quite a while, but this new one called Volume is virtual pilfering at its best. Your mission, infiltrate the archives of a power-hungry madman, steal from the rich and give to the poor, and it's all being streamed live. You play as Robert Loxley, a hacker who uses a device known as Volume to simulate high-profile heists. The faster you sneak, the more you steal. You'll have to overcome 100 levels of stealth, distraction, and misdirection to reach your goal. Some of the solutions are pretty tough, but there's plenty of checkpoints and a few useful tools lying around to help you along the way. It should only take you about 6 hours to finish the main story, but then you can go back and try to beat your fastest level times. Plus, you can even make your own levels and share them with other players. It's no Metal Gear Solid, but Volume puts the stealth back in stealth games. We give it a super sneaky 8 out of 10. Get your creep on.
Tom, it's almost time.
Roger that. Commence broadcast countdown.
On my mark, 10 seconds. In 5, 4, 3, 2...
With all the new games coming out, this one may have slipped under your radar. Part Asteroids, part Sinistar, Galaxy the Dimensional is a super fun space shooter with a whole lot of anime flavor. Play as ATAC, the last remaining pilot on a desperate mission to save a crippled star carrier. You gotta be quick on the trigger and even quicker on the stick. And when your shields go down, you better get out of dodge. Survival depends on finding chests and collecting lots of scrap. Don't sleep on it, because upgrading your ship is critical. Eventually, you'll be able to really up the firepower. Who rules the galaxy now? Careful though, even in Macross mode, you'll still only get 1 life per 5-episode season. One mistake, and you'll lose it all. Crash and burn. This style of gameplay can be pretty frustrating. It's not for everyone, but it's my kind of party. We give Galaxy a 7.5 out of 10. Here we go again.
Tom, you're almost at capacity. Store some of your weapons.
But I like carrying 11 guns. Who needs food?
Are you listening to yourself? Plus, you only use 3 of them. Why do you need 10 Batmans?
What if I need to fight something big?
You have 9 suits of power armor. Don't you think you're hoarding a little too much?
I like collecting stuff. Can't be too careful.
In case you didn't know by the hoarding references, Tom and I are talking about Fallout 4.
Which is amazing and huge and super fun. And gives you a lot of freedom on how you want to play.
Like if you want to have a collection of 8 missile launchers you'll never ever use, you can.
Exactly. Also, don't forget the legendaries. And now you can tinker with your armor, improve your weapons, create settlements.
Because who cares about a story when you have an inventory to manage?
Basically, you've survived the bomb, frozen in a vault.
Someone's stolen your son and killed your spouse. But for some reason, Tom's mostly concerned with flannel shirts.
Okay, point taken. So, you're looking for your son, and you're exploring the Commonwealth, and all the people to meet, things to collect, ghouls to kill, and people to talk to.
Who the f*** am I? Who the f*** are you?
Plus, locks to pick, more things to collect.
Nice.
And a ton of side quests.
Eventually, you have to choose which major faction to support.
Not to spoil it too much, but not everyone gets along. So you choose who's in power.
It gets pretty glitchy here, especially if you want to support the railroad.
Yeah, I had to replay a bunch of the game from an old save to get the ending I wanted.
Which is another lesson in the wastes. Save often.
If you like giant RPG / first-person shooter / hoarder, and making and tinkering and fixing stuff, this game is pretty great.
And if they fix the glitches, it'll be even better.
Toonami gives Fallout 4 a 9 out of 10.
Engaging hostile. Tom, that's an unarmed robot.
Should have armed himself. Ooh, bottle caps. They say good things get better with age, and Rise of the Tomb Raider is no exception. This time around, Lara is an up-and-coming badass on the trail of a fabled lost city. While trying to survive the frosty peaks of Siberia, you'll face danger at every turn. If it's not vicious tomb guardians hell-bent on making you their next meal, it's the evil forces of Trinity who will stop at nothing in their quest for immortality. Like last time, it's a mostly linear adventure, but this time, it's bigger and better in every way. All your favorite elements are still here. Plus, there are some bonus tombs, tons more side quests, and a whole army of heads to bust. They've also added some new tools and weapons, and a few multiplayer modes. But for me, tomb raiding has always been a solo affair. Just me and my girl Lara against the world. We give Rise of the Tomb Raider a 9 out of 10. Bring it on. Naruto's back in action, and even though the Ninja Storm series is ending, it's definitely going out with a bang. For me, fighting games are all about the fight, and that's where this one really shines. Use simple combos to build up your powers, and then unleash devastating new jutsus. And this time around, even after you've picked your squad, you can switch characters on the fly, setting up huge team combos and dealing extreme damage. Kaboom! It's not all about the legendary beatings. There are plenty of extras too, like gathering collectibles and unlocking tons of your favorite characters. The only downside is that it left me wanting more. It only takes about 5 hours to finish the story mode. With some of the most epic boss battles ever, a great new combat system, and insane ultimate jutsus, this one is a Naruto lover's dream. We give Ultimate Ninja Storm 4 an 8 out of 10. A true hero always arrives late. Not exactly. Salt and Sanctuary is pretty similar, but it's slightly easier.
That's a pretty weird title.
Well, collecting salt is how you level up, and the sanctuaries are where you go to unlock new talents and buy essential gear.
It looks like there are all types of fighters.
Yeah, and picking the right one is critical. With monsters everywhere, and even tougher boss battles, you're gonna die over and over.
So it is like Dark Souls.
Sorta, except it's not as harsh. With lots of hidden treasures and tons of powerful upgrades, you will be tempted to go deeper, die, and lose it all.
Sounds pretty familiar.
The only thing I really wasn't into was the lack of setup. You kinda just gear up and go for it. It's still cool, but there's a little too much guesswork.
Just like Dark Souls.
Yep. We give Salt and Sanctuary an 8.5 out of 10. Staying alive. I want to do something else.
We've done it all. A lot.
But it's fun.
I didn't say it wasn't, but you want something else.
Sarah and I are talking about The Division, which has been out for a couple of months now.
You play an agent who's been activated to help get control of Manhattan after the dollar flu.
We got criminal elements occupying most of these neighborhoods.
It's part MMO, part third-person open-world game.
I like the story, and the gameplay is really fun.
But it takes a minute to get used to the bullet sponge and cover system.
You need to build up all 3 parts of your base to advance the story.
Looks perfect. I can't thank you enough.
And each one gives you different ability boosts. But once you finish the main story, there's just not much left to do.
The free incursion mode is out now, which is basically a horde mode, but it's pretty hard if your team isn't coordinated.
And no one's strong enough to do it on your own. So we're kind of stuck.
We are under heavy fire! Requesting support, now!
There's the dark zone where you can play with or against other agents.
But even that's kind of the same thing. I want more missions to play, or dark zone missions.
I would even replay all the missions on challenging, but they're not all available.
I give The Division a really fun 8 out of 10.
I agree, but if more content comes out, that could go higher.
So what do you want to do?
We get a rose jacket if we get all the echoes.
Huh. Okay, let's roll. Ever wish you could go back and change a bad decision or choose a different path? Well, Stories, The Path of Destinies will have you turning back the pages. You play as Reynardo, a sly fox caught up in a world at war, which means a lot of your stories will end in death. But thanks to your magic book, you can always run it back again. Along the way, you'll collect elements to power up your magic swords, find rare gems to upgrade your gauntlet, and boost Reynardo's skills with all the crows you can kill. Then, when you finish a story, live or die, you go right back into the book and start again. Better choose wisely, or you'll end up repeating your mistakes over and over, Groundhog Day style. On the downside, the battles are kind of repetitive, and you play the same areas time and again. But that's not why you play this game. You play for the perfect ending. I haven't found it yet, but I'll just keep running the paths of destiny until I come out on top. We give Stories a 7.5 out of 10. Crazy like a fox. One of the greatest shooters of all time is back with a vengeance, and what's old is new again. Get ready for Doom. This time around, a facility on Mars has been overrun by Hell's minions, and guess who can't wait to clean up the mess? Use your arsenal of iconic weapons to serve up mass destruction. No cover, no health regeneration, no mercy. Doom has always been my kind of party, and now there's even more ways to take down the demon horde. Smash them, stomp them, cut them in half. The Glory Kill system is your new best friend. As you progress, the demons get bigger and more powerful, but so do your upgrades. Mix in some collectibles and a few tough boss battles, and it feels just like old times. On the downside, the multiplayer is pretty weak. You can play as a demon once in a while, but it's just the same old drill. Good thing the campaign mode delivers plenty of retro murder fun. We give Doom an 8 out of 10. See you in hell. Well, it's the heart of summer. Time to cool down and take a break from all these shooters by sinking into Song of the Deep. You play as Marin, a little girl in search of her dad who's been lost at sea. Explore the depths in your makeshift submarine, but be careful. The underwater world is a dangerous place full of mythical beasts, deadly traps, and tough puzzles. As you sink deeper, you'll upgrade Marin and her sub with powerful new weapons and abilities. Eventually, you'll unlock the sonar and free dive modes, allowing access to hidden areas. In dive mode, you can still fight off the denizens of the deep, but you'll have to leave the safety of the sub to get all the goodies. On the downside, it's pretty short, only about 8 hours, and in the end, your sub becomes so powerful that it makes the final battle one of the easiest I've ever played. That aside, it's still a pretty fun quest, discovering the wonders of the sea and the magic that lies beneath. We give Song of the Deep a 7.5 out of 10. Dive her down. Every once in a while, a game comes around that really stands out, like this new one called Hyper Light Drifter. It starts off kind of crazy, some sort of apocalypse, a demon, and a sick hero. Set off with your sword and your sidearm in search of a cure. As you slash, drift, and blast monsters in the shattered world, you'll need to collect 16 shards to unlock the 4 realms and defeat the bosses lurking in each. Visit the shops to upgrade your hero. You can't boost your health ever, but upgrading your weapons really comes in handy later on. Tough enemies and even tougher boss battles require precision drifting and timely slashing just to stay alive. But when you finally clear a room or take down a big boss, it's pretty damn rewarding. The only annoying thing is the cryptic map system. I really wanted to dig for all the extras, but I couldn't figure out where I was half the time. That aside, I really enjoyed the 16-bit world of Hyper Light Drifter. We give it an 8 out of 10. Let there be light. Hey Sarah, this game looks cool. And a little familiar.
It's called Inside, the new game from the people who made Limbo.
Nice.
The game just kind of starts, and you shortly find out that you're being hunted. And you don't have any weapons other than your mind. So you have to puzzle your way through, or you die.
Ooh, that looked painful.
Yeah, you end up dying a lot. And they're always pretty intense.
Ooh, you weren't kidding.
They do a good job of adding new environments and skills, and there are chapter breaks all over the place. So you usually don't have to backtrack that far when you die.
Run!
It's only about 3 or 4 hours long, and while the story is really good, it's hard to talk about without spoiling it.
Seems great.
It is. Inside for the PS4 gets a 9 out of 10.
Is that thing friendly?
Nope.
Look out!